but they believe it.
It's crazy how prevalent it is because people are just headline readers.
Yeah.
And the mainstream news is completely captured.
Yeah, and to some degree, I'm sympathetic to people who get, propagandized by this stuff, because we do, in general in life, we outsource the overwhelming majority of knowledge to other people. Like when my hot water heater broke down and I just hire a guy to replace it. I don't know anything about hot water heaters, but I just trust, I don't know. I don't know. So
Right.
you do it and let me know. We
Right.
do this all the time with everything.
Right.
And so most people have busy lives. They're working. They got kids to take care of. They got a family. If the guy in the suit on CNN says it, well, I'm kind of trusting him to be the expert here, and he knows. And the problem is that, the guy who fixed my water heater, I don't believe is a corrupt, lying piece of shit. But
Right.
the people on CNN are. And that's the major problem here. It's like you can't trust them.
And the culture in that building, in that CNN building, is all in support of that narrative.
Yep.
And you can't really buck that. Especially if you're a career person, you want to stay on the air, you want to keep things going. Just look what they did to Tucker Carlson, who was the #1 guy on television. And whatever feathers he ruffled, whatever people he pissed off, I don't believe he's openly discussed it yet because he's probably got some sort of a lawsuit going on. They removed him because he was a problem. The way he was discussing things was a problem.
Well, it's very interesting that if we've talked about this before when we played clips about CNN talking about you and stuff, and but if you listen to CNN, the way they talk about you or the way they talk about Tucker Carlson, not that you guys are in different worlds, but the way they talk about you two guys is you're these very controversial figures who say all of these things that are not approved of, and these very polarizing figures. But then you're like, no, he's the #1 guy in cable news, and you're the #1 guy in podcasting. You guys, how are you guys viewed as controversial? But CNN is talking to an audience of 200,000 people and letting people are very skeptical of these guys. I'm like, no, they're not. These are the most popular figures, and it's because people can at least smell that you're not bullshitting them the way these guys are.
Right.
And that was always one of the things that I really appreciated about Tucker, was that he would break with the Republican Party and have a completely different view from them. He would break with everyone else on the network, which
Right.
is that's so unheard of today.
Yeah.
In MSNBC, if you look down the whole lineup, at CNN, if you look down the whole lineup, you cannot point to one host who has a drastically different opinion on an issue that matters than the hour before them and the hour before them.
Right.
But if you look at the daytime at Fox News, where they were on the war in Ukraine versus where Tucker was, or where they were on lockdowns versus where Tucker was, is a night and day difference.
Yeah.
And so, of course, they removed the one interesting guy.
Well, he was kind of doing podcasting on TV. Yeah. He had gotten to the point where his show was so huge that he could kind of get away with it. And he incrementally kept ramping it up to he's like, the CIA killed Kennedy.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus.
Yeah, he
bro.
started really going for it.
He was going
That
for
was
it.
great. People
And-
need to hear that.
Well, the beautiful thing is now he's just going for it on Twitter. And, Elon's like, okay, go ahead.
And you can see it in him that even though he was going for it on Fox, you can see the freedom he has.
Oh, yeah.
On Twitter, where he's like, okay, I'm not pulling any punches now.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Well, it's important. It really is. And people need to wake the fuck up.
Well, look, even with this Trump thing, man, it's like I was saying, how so many people still believe the Russia collusion story, which was all made up, man. And you can go follow this whole thing. It was all made up, and they knew it. They knew what they were doing. There's that clip, by the way, before any of this stuff. This is before Donald Trump ever took office.